Hello. I read a book this week called Learned Optimism, written by Martin Seligman. He wrote this book back in '96 and then did several updates since then. It's a very interesting book and very useful book. I'll cut to the chase. The major idea presented in the book is that if you can remain optimistic no matter what happens in your life, it can help put you in a good state to endure negative events and then also take good advantage of positive events in your life. This idea kind of resonates with some similar ideas I've come across with Tony Robbins as well. The key chapter, I reckon, from this book, this part one and part two kind of covers first of all, the information that he was researching in part one, and then in part two, he kind of shows a lot of proofs for the information that he's covered. Chapter 12, I believe, is like the main crux, or the main tool to walk away with, and it covers the chapter's called The Optimistic Life. And in this chapter, it goes into a strategy to use, I guess you could think of it as a type of cognitive behavioral therapy using the ABCs. A is for adversity, so it's an event that's happened that can be difficult. B is belief, so what are the beliefs that you have during that event? C is consequence, how does that affect you? And then it actually goes on and extends it later in the chapter with D and E. And D is dispute, and that's where you attempt to counteract negative or unuseful thoughts that you have about a particular adverse event that's happened. And then E is energize, which is like a motivational thing that you can tack on the end. It's a very useful tool of sorts that I encourage you to look more into. This book's been very useful, and I recommend giving it a go, giving it a read. It's a relatively quick read. It took me about a week. Some of the chapters weren't so relevant to me, but if you have children, there's a chapter on developing your children to get into optimism as well. And it'll give you tools to fight against things like depression. I think it was in part two there were links that the book set up showing that pessimism and depression may not be causal for each other, but there's definitely a correlation of sorts. So I enjoyed making this video for myself and for you. Please give your next book recommendation in the comments below. Thank you for listening.